This is an example of the decision-making process with a personal example of whether or not to continue dating or using dating apps, considering effect on resources like time, money, health, as well as the emotional component. In this case, I'm using the decision-making process to think through the entire scenario, so it makes the most sense to start with the objective components to the decision, look at the end, and analyze whether or not the emotional benefit is worth the cost of these choices. We already know that the objective decision-making process is focused on maximizing our resources, which is time, money, and health. Money's always the easy one, so let's start with the price tags. Now, there can be a whole lot of costs associated with the dating process. It may start with cost of dating apps, a first date, someday a diamond, and maybe a good attorney if things go sideways.
Every rose has its thorn.
As you may see here, I don't exactly know what decision I'm trying to make right off the bat. I'm just questioning, should I be continuing to date, use the dating apps? What's the right decision here? So let's think about it a little bit. My case is a bit unique because with a failing heart, the idea of long-term relationship is kind of out of the question. I don't have that same end goal unless they're good with a Ouija board. So my situation may be more focused on a shorter term. Am I trying to decide whether to have a girlfriend or not? Well, it's earlier than that. So am I trying to decide, do I go out on a date with this girl or not? It's even before that because there's no girl specifically that I'm debating, do I go on a date or not? I need to make a decision based on information in front of me, not some scenario that may exist in the future. So what I'm really trying to do is decide the level of effort that I want to put into meeting a girl. If I would meet someone, then I can make a decision about whether or not I want to go on a date with them or go on a second date or whatever the case may be. But I can't make a decision based on a mythical person I haven't even met yet. So let's just start at the basics. Should I put effort into meeting somebody or not? Meeting a date has taken a lot of different forms in my life over the years. In college, you would meet most people either at bars or parties, some kind of social gathering. And at that time, I was probably spending roughly $20 a week to go out partying. After college, I got my first good paying job. I wasn't very responsible with my money, and I was spending about $1,400 a month partying at that time. Now at that post-college time, in addition to spending $1,400 a month, I was also spending, let's say, an average of 4 nights out a week, average 6 hours a night, let's say. I was making roughly $21 an hour, so if you take 100 hours a month and the $21 an hour makes about $2,100 a month, add in the $1,400, and that makes about $3,500 a month times 12 months makes about 42 grand a year was my cost of going out. As you can see, it was a very expensive effort to go out and meet girls. All that resulted in a marriage that lasted 14 months, worst investment ever. All that colorful history aside, I don't drink anymore, so those options are irrelevant. However, I do still go to bars, restaurants, parks, social events, the gym, and in most of those cases, I would say the cost is negligible compared to the cost of alcohol used to be. More importantly, there's a primary purpose other than just meeting girls. I'm still gonna go to the gym and work out, take care of myself and stay healthy. And if I meet somebody, they're great, but it's not my primary purpose. We'll discuss sunken costs in a later video. The point is that I would be going to those excursions anyway for a different purpose. And if I did meet a girl there, that's just a secondary effect. As far as emotional benefit of the choices we'll discuss, let's think about success rate. So for the in real life meetings, in the last 10 years, I can only count 3 girls that I've met, dog park, bar, and gym, that resulted in an actual first date. So that gives us a success rate of about 0.3 dates per year in real life meetings. Now that's far from a raging success rate, which unfortunately leaves what's become the most common method for meeting people these days, dating apps. Now most of these can be joined for $0. For Hinge and Bumble, I preferred the premium just because it felt more efficient and time is precious. Yes, I have tried Tinder. I probably had the worst results with that compared to the others, so I don't even waste my time with that one anymore. However, with Hinge and Bumble, the cost of these in terms of a 3-month subscription, 3 months of Hinge was $108.24, and 3 months of Bumble is $64.94. This makes a total of 3-month period of $173.18. Now you can do a 1-month subscription at a higher rate per month or a longer subscription at a cheaper rate per month. 3 months felt right to me because if you do meet someone and want to cancel or quit doing it, you're not out a whole year's worth of subscription fees. We take this 3-month period times 4 for the 1-year cost of $692.72. Now the time suck part of this. With Bumble, it's just a like or you don't like. Very easy, and that's all that's required until you actually match with someone and message back and forth. With Hinge, it's a little bit different. You have the option to like or not like. But within that, if you like, you can actually leave a comment as well. So now that you have the option to leave a comment, if you just scroll through and like, then not leave a comment, well, now it makes you look lazy when they see it because it looks like you didn't take any effort to actually say anything. The alternative is that you spend a ton of time making comments to everyone that you do like, and then you end up wasting all this time for nothing. Let's just say you're disciplined enough to only do this for 15 minutes while you're eating 3 times a day and maybe 15 minutes at the end of your day. That makes 1 hour a day, and let's just use $50 an hour for a number on the amount of value of your time. Now you can vary that a lot depending on how much you're messaging and how many matches you get and all this other stuff, but let's just say that's your average, and at the end of a year, your time has cost you $18,250. But now if you're doing it while you're eating, it's not necessarily incremental because you would already be spending the time eating, and yes, you could be doing something else more productive, but let's be generous and say we only spend 15 minutes of dedicated time a day to playing on the apps. That drops it to $45.62.50, which is still a lot of money in time spent for this effort. That also means that you have the discipline to limit yourself to some reasonable amount that you're spending on the apps. For emotional benefit or success rate of this option, between Hinge and Bumble, in the last year I met 6 girls that I went on at least 1 date with. So the success rate is a little bit higher than the in real life, but the cost is definitely higher as well. The last option I'll mention is League. That app is no cost, and they give you 3 options a day, and you can burn through those with a like or unlike real quick in seconds. So there's virtually no time or cost requirements for this app, and I've had 1 date resulting from somebody I met on there in the last 6 months, let's say. Laying it out like this by option makes a lot more sense because it's not necessarily an all or none decision. Yes, we could look at it as either I'm going to do everything I can to meet somebody, or I'm going to give it all up, throw in the towel, and enjoy the Shaolin monk lifestyle of peace and harmony. It's really up to you, but in this case, I like the ability to be able to look at each option and weigh those costs and benefits. And we can mix and match where we want, where it makes sense. Again, I don't drink anymore, so that's not really an option for me. So let me start with meeting someone in real life. Now the benefit success rate is actually pretty low. However, because the cost is 0, your cost to benefit ratio is pretty good for this. Really, anything that you achieve with this at 0 cost is a win. And we already said that I didn't have good luck with Tinder before, so I'm not even going to consider that. For Hinge and Bumble, while it did result in the highest success or emotional benefit, it also had the highest cost. Now there are options like going to the 0 cost version of it, so that would reduce the dollar cost, but it's still going to take a lot of time to filter through on these. For League, again, not a high success rate, but virtually no cost, so anything I get there, again, is a win. Another factor that we've talked about is supply. And right now, my time, large scale, is very limited because my health is very limited. So I have to consider time as much or more than cost when making this decision. Now, if I look at what this true cost of spending the time on Bumble and Hinge costs me, it's very hard to justify continuing with these options. Yes, it's fun to meet somebody and it's fun to go out on a date, but considering the success rate and the end results, for the most part, I just can't justify the cost for the emotional benefit. Now remember, for the purpose of this exercise, the only emotional component I'm talking about is the benefit for the enjoyment of going on a date. There are a lot of other components that can play into this. I'm just going to stick with something simple for this exercise. Now, since meeting someone in real life or in League is of virtually no cost to me, I can continue doing those things, at least for now. Since emotions are illogical, that means they can change over time. So this is how I feel today, but that doesn't mean that in a month I may not decide to stop any efforts and just focus on the Shaolin Zen lifestyle, or I may decide in a couple months that I want to try again and see if I have any better luck next time. At least when I go back and do that, if I do, I will now know the real cost of what time and money it takes to do it, and I can make an educated decision on making that choice. Even though this is a decision-making process, we can also use it for an option of growth. If I look at the costs and the benefits of the options we discussed, maybe now is just a good time to say to myself, self, instead of doing what feels like a lot of work for a little reward on dating apps, which, don't get me wrong, they're a great way to meet a lot more people in the worst way possible, maybe you should just put a little bit more effort into being friendly and smiling and saying hi to girls out and about in real life. If you haven't done so already, please click the link below to subscribe and click the little bell for notifications. Check out the YCC merch store and see if there's anything you like, and let's use casual sense.